ちは。このポッドキャストはトロントに住む私ミーと私のパートナーであるベトナム系カナダ人の埼玉くんがダイバーシティについて考えるラジオです。みなさんこんにちは。
おはようございます。
And こんばんは。
No, さこんばんは。
Okay. Anyways,
Okay.
How was your week?
This week was tiring, but on Thursday I got to go to a train yard. So it was the maintenance yard for all of our subways, our GO transit or our trains. And their safety procedure is very strict. It's whenever you go enter, everyone has to tag in, and then you can't go out.
That's
until,
good thing.
Yeah, but the difference is nothing. So they have a lot of moving parts, and then every time something moves, everyone has to tag in. So you can have like.
What is tagging?
It's like there's security centers where everyone has to go. Like you have to regroup at that location. So like almost every hour or so, like everyone just like moves to the side so that all the equipment can move around. It was different.
Okay.
So that was cool.
Okay.
That's my week.
I don't know. My week didn't have any new thing, but we got a Christmas gift from our vegan friend.
Oh yeah, it was
Yeah.
so good.
Our friend, she is vegan and she had made so many vegan dishes at home, and she brought us the homemade sauerkraut.
I know. Arigato.
And yeah, she's Japanese. And what was that? Vegan cookie.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That was.
And then that had the cookies were matcha cookie,
Snickerdoodle.
snickerdoodle. You have to explain later. And chocolate chip cookie. So what's snickerdoodle?
For me, a snickerdoodle is like the chocolate chip, but you replace the cookie with you remove chocolate and you just replace it with some other ingredient. So most of the time it's peanut butter.
No, I mean, what is snickerdoodle?
Oh, it's just the name of the cookie.
Okay.
Like chocolate chip is the name of a chocolate chip cookie.
Yeah.
So it's
But you should tell me the ingredients.
Oh, flour, butter, egg, sugar,
No.
salt.
Okay, cookie. We know cookie.
Yeah.
But what's the character of the cookie?
Nothing. It's just a basic cookie, and then with peanut butter.
Oh, with peanut butter. So peanut butter cookie is called snickerdoodle?
I don't think so, because people make peanut butter cookie differently. But for me, I associate snickerdoodle with a peanut flavor.
Okay, I have to know.
Yeah, it's not a common cookie anymore.
Okay, let me see. Snickerdoodle. Snickerdoodle is a type of cookie made with butter or oil, sugar, salt, and flour, and rolled in cinnamon sugar. Oh, that's why. So no peanut butter.
For me, it's peanut butter, because you always add, or at least I've always associated.
Why?
I don't know, just growing up, I've always had it with, like the cinnamon. I guess cinnamon.
Yeah, I think it's cinnamon. What that you associate with. Yeah. So she taught me that since cookie normally requires butter and eggs, instead of butter, she said she used
Olive oil.
For chocolate cookie and chocolate chip cookie and
peanut butter for the snickerdoodle and coconut oil for the matcha.
No, tahini.
Tahini for the matcha.
Yeah. So it was interesting.
Oh yeah, that was interesting.
And then you like the matcha cookie the most. We are meat eaters, so basically we like buttery, eggy things when it comes to baking. So still, the regular cookies are, I think, the best for us.
Yeah.
But it was good.
Oh yeah, totally. I think I like the matcha only because it doesn't go well with butter anyways for me,
Oh, I see.
right? So it doesn't taste like it was a vegan cookie. It just tastes like a cookie. Whereas I can tell when a cookie doesn't have butter or eggs.
Anyways,
It
that
was
was good. Okay. So,
This week's topic is a little dark.
why? It's not.
Yeah, it is. It's about sexual consent.
Yeah. Good thing to discuss about.
Yeah, but it's 2020. This whole topic should be obvious, but it's not.
Why? Because it's not.
Exactly.
I mean, especially the age.
Yeah.
It's very difficult to define. Okay, so today we picked the web page titled Age of Consent to Sexual Activity. So it is a page on the website of Department of Justice Canada. So it's government's page explaining what's the age of consent to have sex
In Canada.
with a person in Canada. So I picked this topic today because I saw the discussion was going on in Japan about the age of consent. So let's see what's the law in Canada.
Okay.
お願いします。
Age of consent to sexual activity. Consent to sexual activity. The age of consent is the age at which a young person can legally agree to sexual activity. Age of consent law applies to all forms of sexual activity, ranging from kissing and fondling to sexual intercourse. All sexual activity without consent is a criminal offense, regardless of age. These are serious offenses that carry serious penalties, including mandatory minimum penalties. Canada's age of consent. The age of consent to sexual activity is 16 years. In some cases, the age of consent is higher, for example, when there is a relationship of trust, authority, or dependency. In other words, a person must be at least 16 years old to be able to legally agree to sexual activity. Close in age exceptions. A 14 or 15-year-old can consent to sexual activity as long as the partner is less than 5 years older and there is no relationship of trust, authority, or dependency, or any other exploitation of the young person. This means that if the partner is 5 years or older than the 14 or 15-year-old, any sexual activity is a criminal offense. There is also a close in age exception for 12 and 13-year-olds. A 12 or 13-year-old can consent to sexual activity with a partner as long as the partner is less than 2 years older and there is no relationship of trust, authority, or dependency or any other exploitation of the young person. This means that if the partner is 2 years or older than the 13 or 13-year-old, any sexual activity is a criminal offense. Sexual exploitation. A 16 or 17-year-old cannot consent to sexual activity if their sexual partner is in a position of trust or authority towards them, for example, their teacher or coach. The young person is dependent on their sexual partner, for example, for care or support. The relationship between the young person and their sexual partner is exploitative. The following factors may be taken into account when determining whether a relationship is exploitative of the young person. The young person's age, the age difference between the young person and their partner, how the relationship developed, for example, quickly, secretly, or over the internet, whether the partner may have controlled or influenced the young person. Sexual offenses. The criminal code protects all Canadians from sexual abuse and exploitation. For example, it protects everyone, including children, against sexual assault with a weapon, aggravated sexual assault, voyeurism, trafficking in persons, non-consensual distribution of intimate images. Child sexual offenses. The criminal code also protects children through child-specific offenses including sexual interference, invitation to sexual touching, sexual exploitation, or other child-specific sexual offenses include child pornography. Child pornography is broadly defined and includes any representation of a person who is or is depicted as being under the age of 18 engaged in explicit sexual activity. Any representation whose dominant characteristic is the depiction of the sexual organs or anal region of a person under the age of 18 for sexual purposes. Written, visual, and audio material that advocates or counsels unlawful sexual activity with a person under the age of 18. Written, visual, and audio material whose dominant characteristic is the depiction of unlawful sexual activity with a person under the age of 18 for a sexual purpose. It is against the law for child pornography to be made, distributed, made available, sold, possessed, or accessed, advertised, exported, or imported. The maximum penalties for these offenses range from 10 to 14. Luring a child. It is against the law for anyone to use the internet to communicate with a young person in order to commit a sexual or abduction offense against that young person. This offense is sometimes called internet luring. The maximum penalty for this offense is 14 years. Exposure. It is against the law for anyone to expose their genital organs for a sexual purpose to a person under the age of 16. The maximum penalty for this offense is 2 years. Child prostitution. It is against the law for anyone to purchase the sexual service of a person under the age of 18 years. Materially benefit from child prostitution. Encourage or incite a person under the age of 18 or to participate in prostitution. The maximum penalties for these offenses range from 10 to 14 years. Child sex tourism. It is against the law for a Canadian or permanent resident to travel outside of Canada and engage in any sexual activity with a young person that is against the law in Canada. If the person is not prosecuted in the country where the offense is alleged to have occurred, the person could be prosecuted in Canada. If convicted, the person would face the same penalty as if that offense had occurred in Canada.
はい。では埼玉くんにカナダ司法省の性的同意年齢に関するページを読み上げてもらったので、そのページ、日本語訳にしたものを読み上げていきます。性的同意年齢、性的同意。性的同意年齢とは、性的行為に法的に同意できる年齢です。性的同意に関わる法律は、キスや愛撫、性交渉まであらゆる性的行為に適用されます。すべての性的行為は同意がない限り年齢にかかわらず犯罪となります。同意のない性的行為は重大な犯罪であり、強制的な刑罰や重刑に処せられます。カナダの性的同意年齢。性的同意年齢は16歳です。場合によっては同意年齢が16歳以上になることもあります。例えば、信頼関係や力関係に基づく関係性の場合や、児童がパートナーに扶養されている場合などです。つまり、性的行為に法的に同意するには、少なくとも16歳でなければなりません。年齢が近い場合の面積。児童が14歳または15歳の場合、パートナーとの年齢差が5歳以内である場合に限って性的行為への同意が可能です。ただし、2人の関係性が信頼関係に基づく場合、力関係がある場合、児童がパートナーに扶養されている場合、この面積は適用されません。14歳または15歳の児童とそのパートナーの年齢差が5歳以上の場合、いかなる性的行為も犯罪となります。児童が12歳または13歳の場合にも、年齢が近い場合の面積が適用されることがあります。児童が12歳または13歳の場合、パートナーとの年齢差が2歳以内である場合に限って、性的行為への同意が可能です。ただし、2人の関係性が信頼関係に基づく場合、力関係がある場合、児童がパートナーに扶養されている場合、この面積は適用されません。12歳または13歳の児童とそのパートナーの年齢差が2歳以上の場合、いかなる性的行為も犯罪となります。性的搾取。16歳と17歳の児童は以下に当てはまる場合、性的同意できません。パートナーとの関係が信頼関係や力関係に基づくものの場合、例えば教師やコーチなど、パートナーに依存している場合、または扶養されている場合、例えば衣食住や経済的扶養をする保護者など、2人の関係性が搾取的な場合、 関係性が搾取的かどうかは以下を考慮して決定されます。年下の人物の年齢、2人の年齢差、どのように関係が発展したか。例えば、急速に、こっそり、インターネットを介して、など。年上が年下をコントロールしたり、影響を与えたりしているか。性犯罪。刑法はカナダ国民を性的虐待や性的搾取から守ります。児童を含むすべての人を以下の犯罪行為から守ります。性的暴行。狂気を伴う性的暴行。加重性的暴行。覗き。人身売買。性的画像の無断公表。児童性的虐待。また刑法は児童への犯罪行為として以下を犯罪と定めています。性的接触、性的接触を誘う行為、性的搾取。児童ポルノ。児童ポルノとは講義には以下の通り定められています。18歳未満とみられる人物、または18歳未満として描かれた人物の性的行為を表現しているもの。性的目的で18歳未満の人物の性器や肛門周辺の描写を主題として表現しているもの。18歳未満の人物との違法な性的行為を支持する、または推奨するような活字、視覚、音声作品。性的目的で18歳未満の人物との違法な性的行為の描写を主題とした活字、視覚、音声作品。法律では児童ポルノの製造、流通、提供、販売、所持やアクセス、宣伝、輸出入が禁止されていて、最長10年から14年の刑に処せられます。児童をおびき寄せる行為。性犯罪や誘拐を目的としてインターネットを使って児童と連絡を取ることは違法です。これはインターネットおびき寄せとも呼ばれている犯罪行為です。最長14年の刑に処せられます。露出。性的目的で16歳未満の児童に対して性器を露出する行為は犯罪です。最長2年の刑に処せられます。児童売春、児童買春。以下は法律で禁止されています。18歳未満の児童による性的サービスの購入。児童売春により利益を得ること。18歳未満の児童に売春を勧める、またはそそのかすこと。最長14年の刑に処せられます。児童買春ツアー。カナダ国民とカナダ永住権保持者が児童との性的行為を目的に海外旅行に行くことは、カナダの法律で禁止されています。犯罪行為が行われた国で起訴されなかった場合、カナダで起訴される可能性があります。有罪判決を受けた場合、カナダで犯罪行為が行われた場合と同様の刑罰が課されます。では、2人でディスカッションしていきます。Okay. So, age of consent to sexual activity, age of consent to have sex with someone in Canada is 16 years old. And then, before going to this specific topic, I want to emphasize all sexual activity without consent is a criminal offense, regardless of age.
Yeah,
This is like normal thing to say. So good that Canada has it.
I know. Like, to play devil's advocate, I understand there are situations where both parties are inebriated. So you're drunk, you're hot, you're whatever, where you can't remember what the events happened. Those are the gray areas where, yes, there is some. Did you say yes? Did you say no? Whatever.
It happens a lot. I think I do remember one night stand stories, like from my friends, university acquaintances, and then that happens a lot.
I know. So to me is like, if you're going to do that, fine. Make sure you have clear consent.
you can't.
Yeah,
Because if they are drunk.
Yeah, but even if you're drunk, you drink, you still remember, you still know what you're doing. So there's nothing wrong with teaching people to get in the habit of saying, "Do you want to have sex?" Like, even if you're drunk, you still know how to put on a condom. So which means you can still remember, "Do you want to have sex?"
I know what you're saying, and
Right.
it's kind of
It's weird.
How do I say, possible here in terms of culture that you have opinions and then you are loud about your opinion.
Yeah.
Oh God.
You need to teach the kids
Yeah, we
in
have
Japan
to change the elementary kids' education, like from preschool to elementary, to say no out loud.
But then the school, I kind of like the school system in Japan where the teacher acts as the disciplinarian for the parents when they're at school. That's understood. But what I think what they should do is teach children to be more independent, not just to say no, to think for yourself. Right? But still follow the rules. I like that.
Yeah.
I don't want to get away from our topic. So consent is consent. Okay? It doesn't matter how you think it is. It's the girl's consent. We're going to say girl because most of the time it's guy raping girl. So the girl's consent is the important thing. The important thing is how to determine consent is just to outright ask. If you feel that the girl is not responsive, then
never do anything.
Yeah, like if she's responsive and just like curled up there, lying there, not reacting, okay, maybe something is wrong and you should check in on your partner and then ask.
I remember the tea.
Yeah.
Tea consent.
Yeah, we should post that video.
Yeah.
That video was awesome.
That's our favorite.
Yeah. It's like sometimes people want tea, but most of the time, no. Anyways, what was I saying? Oh, consent. Yes, girls should know how to fight back. Girls should definitely know how to fight back. This is horrible.
Yeah, like at least, right? Even though maybe you can't do it, you can't resist at the time when it's happening, but at least it's a good idea to learn self-defense.
And the whole thing about how girls can't say no, I mean, it takes two people to have sex. So, if you say no, that's it. The other guy's just masturbating. Right? Like, you control the situation. It's not the guy. That's sad.
Yeah. How about age of consent? Okay, that's the main topic.
Oh yeah, age of consent?
So it's 16 years old in Canada. I mean, it's pretty good, but I have to ask this. So it means in Canada, you will get sex education by the time you will become 16 years old? That's why?
No, so, okay, if I recall correctly, I had sex ed around grade 6.
12, 11 years
12,
old.
yeah. So I guess that's when they start thinking that your body has...
Because it will, start, they will start on the... what's the term?
Puberty.
Yeah,
so that's when you start. So that's when we started learning. So right around middle school is when we know about what's happening to our body and what will happen. Once you enter high school is when they start teaching you about consent and safe sex.
They teach you about consent?
I know I was taught consent.
So amazing.
I guess maybe this is just my gym teacher because he was really clear about sex.
Okay.
It was consent and safe sex. Just two things to drill into us. Yeah.
So it was actual specific about intercourse is after high school.
Yeah.
They told.
Well, enter high school. I mean.
Yeah.
So they taught us. I mean, he specifically taught us that, and then he also explained to us like diseases and how you can catch diseases so that you can practice safe sex. But most of like the biology was taught earlier, so that you already know what's going to happen to your body. You already experienced the voice cracking.
Did you also learn how the baby is
born?
Yeah, I mean made.
Yeah, we learned
in middle school.
No, you learn that in science class, like biology.
So in high school?
Yeah, in high school. Because you're too young to understand, like, a fetus catches the womb and it becomes this and it becomes this and placenta.
Okay.
Because they teach that more like it's science. Like, you just got to know.
I see. I think that's why, I guess, after 16 you will start learning about more specifically or deeper about sex. So that's because the age of consent is the concept of the person become to be able to judge if the person wants to have sex or not, because they already know the details about sex.
Yeah.
So I think it kind of understandable.
Because in the end, the last thing you want to teach about is like why, like how the reason for sex, like how do babies grow? That's more like science.
I don't know, but
so how is sex ed in Japan when you were in school?
I don't even remember. But I do remember in biology we did the fetus thing, how the sperm meets the egg.
Yeah, but that's more like learning. That's for science. That's like learning math. You just gotta know it.
Sexual intercourse.
It's like
I remember we did learn about the sexual diseases, but for sure we don't get taught about condom. No.
See, that's
never heard of it before.
That's horrible.
I guess, I don't know.
No, it is just horrible.
Yeah, it's bad.
That's the problem here that's the problem here in Ontario too. Is that when the new provincial PC government came in, they repealed a lot of some of the sex ed classes back to like an older curriculum.
Catholic.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's different program. Like interesting.
But it's the same thing. It's like a conservative group is rolling back education. Yeah,
they don't want to teach kids something they don't know.
Yeah.
Because they think it will.
They think it will change them and make them go into it. Like, people aren't gonna start,
Yeah, it will. Like eventually, so why not? Yeah, it's better to be safe.
Yeah.
Yeah, always. And then they also doesn't like abortion. It's so inconsistent. Like,
yeah, I know. I hate that.
So stupid.
It's like you can't abort the child, but you don't want to take care of the child, but you're forcing someone else to take care of the child.
Exactly.
It's so dumb.
Talking about the age of consent, Japanese age of consent is 13-year-old, as I told you. But yeah, obviously, think about when you are 13-year-old. If the adult asks you what's the sex or intercourse, could you explain?
Yeah.
I mean,
by the time I was 13, because I grew up with the internet, I already knew what porn sex was. I already knew what sex was just because of watching movies as a kid. So it's not like children don't know. By the time you watch like cartoons, let's say 6, you already know what sex kind of is, or what sex is alluded to when you see like 2 characters, kissing, running, making up, running into a room, and then it cuts scene and you see them lying in bed. You know what happened. You don't see it, but you know it. And you grew up knowing that, oh yeah, they just had sex. You're not stupid. Parents are stupid. By the time you're 13, you know what sex is. You know that your body's going through it, but you don't know how to do it.
Yeah.
You don't know the acts. You don't know anything. So that's also a problem. Like,
yeah, that's why I'm saying the 13-year-old of the age of consent is wrong.
But by 13, I knew because we had access to porn, right? So we already knew what to do.
How it's going on. Obviously, I didn't because I never watched porn.
You're not a guy.
No, but even the shoujo comic, they do have the depiction of sex.
Yeah.
But I couldn't see, even though the shoujo manga has the 2 people are doing like this.
Yeah.
Like
one is lying on top of each other.
Yeah. Like I couldn't tell what's going on in at the sexual part. That's why.
So it's exposure. We knew because we grew up seeing it.
So
You didn't.
That's why I'm like, yeah, a 13-year-old can't consent about sex. They wouldn't know what could happen, right?
But I did.
Right, right.
So it's all about exposure. So if you want to say the age of consent is 13, fine. You got to put restrictions on that, like 13 and 13, not 13 and 40. That is raw. And you got to make sure that the people at 13 knows what's going on, like what's happening to their body, like all that. Either that or raise the sexual limit age of consent.
Yeah, 16-year-olds are good, I think.
Because even 16-year-olds aren't prepared, but at least they know something.
Yeah. So the exceptions in Canada, like under the 16 here, is if you are 14-year-old or 15-year-old, they can consent to sexual activity as long as the age gap is 5 years.
Yeah, 5 years or
less than 5 years.
So
14 years can consent to have sex with 19-year-old.
Yeah.
And then you didn't like it.
Well, I didn't like that because it feels a far range. Because 14 and 19 is big in terms of like development age. But I can understand when we were talking earlier that a lot of people will meet in high school.
In high school.
Still, this should be 4 years because you should end it at 18. Because 18 is an adult. Because 18 should know that you should not have sex with a 14-year-old, regardless of how you feel.
Yeah, it's
right.
18 years. It's the adult. That is true.
That's why it should be age of consent is 2 years. 2 years max.
Okay.
It's just weird.
I don't know. I can see it though, like 14 and 50 years old. But here, 12 and 13-year-old can consent to have sex with a partner.
2 years.
Yeah, as long as the partner is less than 2 years older. Actually, I also get this too. It could be a genuine relationship, actually.
Sure, it could be genuine relationship, but why is 12 and 14-year-old having sex?
Yeah, that's the weird thing. Like, they should ask about it.
I think
they shouldn't have it.
No, they definitely shouldn't. But I think when they wrote this, it's the same way that we were thinking about how kids are going to be kids and they'll still have sex.
Yeah, they don't want to charge
children,
the 14-year-old, right?
Yeah,
I get it. So the other topic, the web page was even if you are 16 or 17-year-old.
Oh, sexual exploitation.
Yeah. So since 16-year-old and 17-year-old here is still kids, right? So 18-year-old is adult, right? Here? Yeah. So 16 and 17-year-old can't consent to have sex if the partner is in the position of trust authority.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Obviously.
So
Ew, so creepy.
So essentially, it just means exploitive is if someone's taking advantage of them or if they're making a profit of them, right? I get that.
Yeah. So in this case, for example, 16-year-old is dating with a teacher or the coach from the sport activity. That is wrong.
That's wrong. That's exploitation or that's abuse of trust and power.
Even if it is genuine, right?
Regardless.
Yeah, even if the 16-year-old is in love with the person.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter, right? That's very good.
Yeah.
Because obviously they're using the position.
Yeah, definitely. Even if it's genuine, it's still one case. Even if their relationship is genuine, it's probably like one case out of like 1,000 where it's not. So it's not really worth allowing that one scenario. So it's better just outright ban it.
So what is the position in the trust or authority? Can you give me the example?
Teacher. Police officer.
Okay.
So authority means someone that you actually have to listen to, right? So your doctor is a position of authority. Coach, yeah. Another parent. But usually if it's like another parent, like
step parent.
Yeah, step parent, that would be more like trust. because someone you trust to take care of you
Yeah.
violated you.
The nanny, babysitter.
Yeah, nanny, like someone you think is going, even family members, family friends that you've known through all your life, relatives, anyone where you are comfortable with, but secretly they're abusing you.
Yeah, actually there are so many cases by the uncles, aunties, I think.
So I remember when we were kids, you're always taught that strangers were the bad people, but really it's family. Family and friends and people closest to you are the worst.
Friends are so scary because you can't really tell the person and the relative too.
Because they're the one that has the
predators.
It's just if they are a predator, they will prey on what is closest to them, right? So that's the problem. What was our original topic? Consent?
Age of consent.
Age of consent.
Yeah. So it's 16-year-olds here. Yeah.
16-year-old plus some exceptions. But, was it? 16-year-old and the furthest you can go down is 13, but there are exceptions. 12, but there are exceptions to that rule.
So I think if the kids are 11-year-old and under, it's no, like, regardless.
Yeah.
It's the crime. Just have a consent, and then if you have a kid, you have to
teach them consent.
Give them education. Yeah. Regardless the sex.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you have to teach
them.
Yeah.
To say no.
Definitely.
What's the weird thing? If you get something like touching, kids can't tell if it's wrong thing or not.
Yeah.
So you have to tell kids that if anyone try to touch here, like anywhere, it's wrong. You have to teach kids that.
Well, just tell them anyone tries to touch you, that's wrong.
Or let them touch.
Yeah.
The genital. Like have kids to touch the person.
Oh yeah. But it's hard to explain those to a kid.
Boys, girls can't tell if it is wrong. They just
touch,
I think.
That's the problem with children. It's like they're too naive to know what's going on. They're like, touch
because they don't know. They have to get educated for that.
But you don't want to educate them because then it loses their innocence. Once they know that someone is a predator, they stop being happy and innocent. They're thinking that someone's going to attack them. So that's why parents are always like, I don't want my kids to know this because they're going to be like, blah, 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 this.
But no. Yeah, no. The safest part is not getting become the victim. That's the priority.
I'd rather have my kid not be a victim.
Yeah. Oh God.
But, some parents are just stupid because they'll think it'll never happen to them.
Okay. That's that.
It's onakaheta time.
Really? Okay.
Sayonara.
はい、それではディスカッションが終わったので、簡単に日本語で、ディスカッションの内容をまとめていきたいと思います。大前提として年齢にかかわらず同意が必要ということを、カナダ政府は宣言しています。なので、同意の有無がその、行為がレイプだったかレイプじゃなかったかっていうところの判断基準になるということですね。年齢にかかわらずです。で、例えばその話をしているとコンセントつまり同意の話をしているときに、あえて Devil's Advocate を言うというふうに埼玉くんが言ってたんですけど Devil's Advocate っていうのは、あえて反論するとすればっていう、ニュアンスですね。議論を活発化させるためにあえて反論をするとしたらという話です。とすれば2人とも酔っ払っている場合とかに同意があったかなかったかが、わからない場合はないっていう話をしてました。で、同意を取る習慣があればそういうことは、あんまり起こらないというか、その 双方が同意を取ることが当たり前というふうな教育とか習慣とかが身についていれば、その曖昧な状況っていうのを全部とは言わずとも防げるんではないかと。であとはノーと言えるように教育すべきだと。でそのノーと言えるようになるだけではなくって、自分に関わる物事を自分で考えて決められる、自立性独立性を教えるべきだと思うと。はい。じゃあ同意はどういうふうに取るのかっていうふうな議論ってよくあると思うんですけど、なんかその書類を用意しとかなきゃいけないのかとか、そういうことは別にセタム君はそういうふうなことは言ってなくて、必ず声に出して取る、なんかお互いの了解を、お話しするってこと、その雰囲気とかニュアンスとかではなくってことですね。で埼玉くんが、男性が女性をレイプする方が統計として多いからあえて女性のことを言うけど、女性に対しての男性の立場っていう表現をするけど、必ず声に出して女性の同意を取ること、これはもう絶対に行うこと、それがなんか彼の中の常識みたいです。で例えば女性が酔っ払っていたり寝てたりして反応がない場合、もう何もするなと、むしろ解放しろと、大丈夫か聞けと言ってましたね。でこの話をしている時に、私たちのお気に入りの性的同意の動画、性的同意を説明する動画で T コンセントっていう動画があるんですけど、それを思い出したので、どこかに上げておこうかな、多分ブログに、上げておこうかなと思います。あとは女性や女の子も、一応年には年をということで自己防衛を学ぶのもいいかもねと。ただ私は絶対に分かるんですよ。そういう状況に陥った時に、なんかレイプされそうな状況とかですね、絶対ね固まっちゃって怖くってフリーズしちゃうと思うんですよ。たとえなんて言うんでしょう、自己防衛を術を知っていたとしても、そういう状況になった時に固まっちゃって何もできないっていうことも絶対あると思うんです。でそういう状況になったとしても、念には念を入れて自己防衛術を一応しておくのはいいかもしれないねっていう話をしてました。あと埼玉君に言わせると、脳が言えないことっていうに関しては、そのセックスというのは基本的に2人の人間の間で起こることなんだから、もう、男女かもどちらとも言いませんけれども、普通にノーと言っていいと。いや女性の話をしてましたね。女性が普通にノーと言ってもいいと。でノーと言ってその相手にもうマスターベーションさせておけばいいんだよと。でその状況を男性ではなくて女性がコントロールすればいいんだよっていうふうに言ってました。でも実際これすごい難しいと感じる女性多いと思います。女性男性と決めつけるわけじゃなくて、強い方弱い方、その性別が関係なくても、例えば若干弱い立場にあるというか、受動的な方がノーに言うのというのはちょっと難しいという状況はあると思うんだけども、そこはもうだからそういうふうにノーと言えないような感じにならないように育てるというか、子どもたちをですね、嫌なことは嫌というはっきりっていうのが一番重要なんじゃないかなと思います。で私もその2人の人間の間で起こることなんだから、その一方の意見を一方的に一方の意見に一方的に従う必要はない。2人で決めればいいんだから、嫌だったら嫌で把握しちゃうみたいなね、その状況をいいのかなと思います。難しいと思いますけどね。はい。本題の性的同意年齢なんですけど、カナダの性的同意年齢は16歳で、その年齢が設定されてるということは、それまでに性教育が行われるのかなというふうに私は聞いたんですね。で 埼玉くんによると、中学生ぐらい、12歳ぐらい、11歳とかで思春期に関わる、声変わりとか生理とか学術的というか、生物的な保健体育的なことを学ぶと。で高校に入ってから、避妊とか感染症とか同意について学んだらしいです。ね、一方私はいつか忘れたんですけど、妊娠する過程というのは生物とかで多分生物か保健体育で学んで、あとは性感染症もちらっと習った気がします。ただコンドームのことを詳しく聞いたことはないような気がします。でその件、コンドームとか性教育の件は、オンタリオも正直その保守系になってから与党が保守系になってから性教育クラスの一部を廃止してるらしいんですね。ほんと最近なんですけど。で、その保守系っていうのはやっぱりカトリックのグループの力が強いので、彼らにとっては性教育っていうのは寝る子を起こすと。だから知らないことをわざわざ教えるなっていう理論なんですよね。でただ結局遅かれ早かれティーンっていうのは、ポルノもあるしインターネットもあるんだから分かるし試してみるようになると。でそれだったら安全性を最優先すべきだよねというふうに話していました。で性教育はしたくないくせに堕胎にも反対する、保守系とかカトリック系のグループなんですけど、そういうところが本当に矛盾してるという話をしていました。で日本の性的同意年齢は今13歳なんですけど、その13歳の時自分たちが正直セックスの詳細知ってたかっていう話になってたんですけど、埼玉くんは正直に知ってたと言ってましたね。そのインターネットあったしポルノとかも13歳までには知ってたから、男の子っていうのもあるのかもしれないですけど、何をしてるのかは分かってたと言ってました。で一方私は具体的には知らなかったですね。少女コミックも結構際どいシーンいっぱいあるし、少女コミック読んでたんでそういうのを目にするのことたくさんあったんですけど、その実際にどういう風な感じで性交渉が行われているのか、ほら別にその局部を見せないじゃないですか。もちろんそれだとポルノになっちゃうんで、そのあたりが実際にどういう風な感じになってるのかっていうのは13歳では知らなかったです。だから私の主観としては13歳では同意できないだろうって、そんな能力ないだろうって思いましたね。で例えば100歩譲って13歳のままでいいとします。でも条件付けるべきだと。13歳同士だったら OK、犯罪にならないとか、今のままだと13歳と40歳でレイプにならない場合があるかもしれない。そんなのはありえないと。かつ性的同意年齢が13歳ならば13歳までにセックスがどういうものなのかっていうのをきちんと分かるように性教育を義務として行わなきゃいけないというか、そうすべきだというふうに話していました。でカナダの同意年齢16歳の話に戻って、でその下の年齢14歳15歳に免責があります。14歳15歳の場合5歳以内の年齢差だったらレイプにはならないのかな、免責になります。で埼玉くんからすると、私も若干わかりますけど、個人的にはすごい、5歳でもツーマッチすごい、そんな14歳と19歳でセックスすべきじゃないだろうという話をしてました。でも確かにそうですよね。でも一応カナダだと多分学校で出会ったカップルも多分いるんですよ、この年齢差だと。中高とかでね、なのでそういうところを考えて面積があるのかなという話をしてました。ただ埼玉くんはそれでも4歳以下とかにすべきだと思うと。で18歳14歳18歳だったら18歳っていうのは大人だから、大人としてその子供とセックスをするべきではないというのは、理解できる年齢ではあるだろうという話をしてました。 で、さらにその下、12歳、13歳の場合、2歳以内の年齢差だったら OK、免責になります。で、そもそも12、3歳の子がセックスするというのがまずもう大問題だし、そんなことすべきじゃないけども、例えば12歳と14歳のカップルがいて、彼らがセックスをしてたとしたら、14歳とかその犯罪者にしないためのものかなっていう話をしていました。だからあえて、一応免責事項を細かく規定してるんですね。で、一方で16歳、17歳でも同意ができない規定があります。それはその関係性が信頼関係、力関係、扶養関係がある場合っていうことですね。これも妥当ですね。例えば16歳の、子供についてる20歳の家庭教師とかがいて、彼らの関係性っていうのはここで言うと信頼関係になるのかな。勉強を教えてもらっている相手である一定期間一緒に過ごしてるから、もう十分に仲いいとか親しい関係で、そういう場合だともう16歳であっても性的同意はできないということになっています。だからその20歳の家庭教師はもしその16歳と性的関係を持ったらアウトということですね。結局その関係性に乗じて性的関係を結んだというふうに判断されるということです。たとえそれが自入院本当の恋だったとしても待ちましょうという話ですね。すごい納得いきますね、これは。で、こういうその信頼関係に基づくブラブラっていう話をしたんですけど、子供の頃からどの国でもきっと知らない人に話しかけられてもついていくなっていうのはみんな教育しつけされてると思うんですよ。でも実際には性的虐待っていうのは身近な人から受けることが多いそうです。だからベビーシッターを頼んでる親戚のおじさんとか家族ぐるみの友達の知り合いとか、先生とかコーチとかベビーシッターとか近い場所にいる人に全幅の信頼を置かないように親はしなきゃいけないっていう話をしていました。はい。私たちは子供はいないですけども、もし今後カナダで子供を持つとしたら、その子の性別にかかわらず、同意のコンセプトを教えることと、嫌なことは嫌というふうにきちんと声に出して、話すことと、あと間違った性的接触について教えたりとかしなきゃいけないねっていう話をして終わりました。はい。今回はその性的同意年齢13歳っていう日本の法律を変えたいのかなっていう議論で、記事というかツイッターとかいろんなところでちょっと目にする機会があったので、一応私はカナダに住んでいて、もしかしたら将来子供をカナダで持つかもしれないので、法律一応知っとこうと思って、そういう理由で今回のトピックを取り上げました。一番重要なのはその守られるべき存在がきちんと守られる状況を大人が整備することだと思うので、きちんと考えていきたいし、もし子供を持ったらそういうふうにちゃんと性教育をしたいなというふうに、考えています。はい。じゃあ今日はここまでです。ちょっと今日も長くなってしまいました。はい。来週もまた、楽しみにしていてください。あとはあれですね、ハッピーホリデーズですね。こっちはなんかメリークリスマスというよりもハッピーホリデーズっていう言葉を使うことが多いです。メリークリスマスももちろんいますけど、というのもいろんな宗教があるからです。面白いですよね。ということで、Happy Holidays and have a wonderful week. Bye bye.